Hello friends, in this video we are going to see about the Bermuda Triangle. In that place the flight and the ships had been disappeared, and 300 people in the ship had been disappeared from the place, and nobody can find them. That's how in this video we are going to cover these topics. Let's begin this video friends. The Bermuda Triangle, also known as the Devil Triangle or Hurricane Alley, is a loosely defined region in the western part of the North Atlantic Ocean, where a number of aircraft and ships are said to be disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Most reputable sources dismiss the idea that there is any mystery. The vicinity of the Bermuda Triangle is amongst the mostly heavily traveled shipping lanes in the world, and with the ships frequently crossing through it for ports in the Americas, Europe, and the Caribbean islands. Cruise ships and pleasure craft regularly sail through the region, and commercial and the private aircraft routinely fly over it. The popular culture has attributed various disappearances to the paranormal or activity by extraterrestrial beings. Documented evidence indicates that a significant percentage of the incidents were spurious, inaccurately reported, or embellished by later authors. The earliest suggestion of an unusual disappearance in the Bermuda area appeared in a September 17, 1950 article published in the Miami Herald by Edward Van Winkle Jones. 2 years later, Fate magazines published She Mystery at Our Back Door, a short article by George Sand covering the loss of the several planes, including the loss of Flight 19. A group of 5 U.S. Navy Grumman TGM Avengers torpedoed bombers on a training mission. Sand's article was the first to lay out the now familiar triangular area where the losses took place. Flight 19 alone would have been covered again in the April 1962 issue of American Legion magazine. In it, author Alan W. Eckert wrote that the flight leader had been heard saying, "We are entering white water. Nothing seemed right. We don't know where we are. The water is green, no white." He also wrote the official at the Navy Board of Inquiry started the plane flew off to Mars. Sand article was the first to suggest a supernatural element to the Flight 19 incident. In February 1944, Vincent Gaddis wrote an article called The Deadly Bermuda Triangle in the pulp magazine Argosy, saying Flight 19 and other disappearances were part of the pattern of a strange event in the region. The next year, Gaddis expanded this article into a book, Invisible Horizon. Other writers elaborated on Gaddis' idea. John Wallace Spencer wrote the book Limbo of the Lost in the year 1969. Charles Blinter wrote the Bermuda Triangle in 1974. Richard Winner, he wrote the book The Devil's Triangle in the year of 1974, and many others, all keeping to the same to some of the natural elements outlined by Eckert. Now we can see about the triangle area. The Gaddis Argosy article delineated the boundaries of the triangle, giving its vertices of as Miami, San Juan, and Puerto Rico and Bermuda. Subsequently, writers did not necessarily follow this definition. Some writers gave different boundaries and vertices to the triangle, with the total area varying from 1,300,000 to 3,900,000 kilometers square. That is 500 kilometer to 1,510 square miles. Indeed, some writers even stretches it as far as the Irish coast. Consequently, the determination of which accident occurred inside the triangle depends on which writer reported them. Now we can see the Larry Kuske circumstance of the concept. Larry Kuske, author of the Bermuda Triangle, solved. This book was released during 1975. Argued that many claims of Gaddis and subsequently writers were exaggerated, dubious, or unverifiable. Larry's researchers revealed numbers of inaccuracy and inconsistency between Berlitz accounts and the statement from eyewitness, participant, and other involved in the initial incident. Larry noted cases where pertinent information went unreported, such as the disappearance of round the world yachtsman Donald Crowhurst, which Berlitz had represented as a mystery despite clear evidence to the contrary. Another example was the Ori carrier, recounted by Berlitz as lost without trace 3 days out of an Atlantic port, where it had been lost 3 days out of a port with the same name in the Pacific Ocean. Larry also argued that a large percentage of incidents that sparked allegation of the triangle mystery influence actually occurred well outside it. Often his research was simple. He would review period newspaper of the dates of a reported incident and find reports on possibly relevant events like unusual weather that were never mentioned in the disappearance stories. Now we can see that Larry concluded that number of ships and craft reported missing in the area was not significantly greater, proportionally speaking, than in any other part of the ocean. In an area frequented by tropical cyclones, the number of disappearances that did occur were for the most part neither disproportionate, unlikely, nor mysterious. Furthermore, Berlitz and other writers would often fail to mention such storms or even represented the disappearance as having happened in calm condition, when meteorology records clearly contradicts this. The number themselves have been exaggerated by sloppy researchers. Boat disappearance, for example, would be reported, but it is eventually returned to port may not have been. Some disappearance had in fact never happened. One plane crash was said to have taken place in 1937 of Daytona Beach, Florida, in front of the hundreds of witnesses. A check of the local papers revealed nothing. The legend of the Bermuda Triangle is a manufactured mystery perpetuated by writers who either purposely or unknowingly made use of misconception, fatally reasoning, and other sensation. In 2013 study, the Worldwide Fund for Natural identified the world's 10 most dangerous water for shipping, but the Bermuda Triangle was not among them. Further response: when the United Kingdom Channel 4 television's program The Bermuda Triangle was being produced by John Simon of Geofilm for the Equinox series, the marine insurance market Lloyd's of London was asked if an unusually large number of ships had sunk in the Bermuda Triangle area. Lloyd's determined that large number of ships had not sunk there. Lloyd's does not charge higher rates for passing through this area. United States Coast Guard records confirm their conclusion. In fact, the number of supposed disappearances is relatively insignificant considering the number of ships and aircrafts that passing through on a regular basis. The Coast Guard is also officially skeptical of the triangle, nothing that the collector and the publish through their inquiries, much documentation contracting many of the incidents written about by the by the triangle author. In one such incident involving the 1972 explosion and sinking of the tanker VA Fog, the Coast Guard photographed the wreck and recovered several bodies. In contrast with one triangle authors claimed that all the bodies had vanished with the exception of the train, who was found sitting in his cabin at his desk, clutching a cup of coffee. In addition, VA Fog sank off the coast of Texas, nowhere near the commonly accepted boundaries of the triangle. The Nova Horizon episode, The Carries of the Bermuda Triangle, aired on June 27, 1976, was highly critical, stating that when we have gone back to the original source or the people involved, the mystery evaporates. Science does not have to answer question about the triangle because those questions are not valid in the first place. Ships and the planes behave in the triangle the same way they behave everywhere else in the world. Skeptical researchers such as Ernest Taves and Barry Singer have noted how mystery and the paranormal are very popular and profitable. This has led to the production of vast amounts of the materials on topics such as the Bermuda Triangle. They were able to show that some of the paranormal materials is often misleading or inaccurate, but it is produced to continue to market it. Accordingly, they have claimed that the market is biased in favor of books, TV specials, and other media that supports the triangle mystery and against well-researched materials if it espouses a skeptical viewpoint. Benjamin Radford, an author and the scientific paranormal investigator, noted in an interview on the Bermuda Triangle that it could be very difficult locating an aircraft lost at sea due to a vast search area. And although the disappearance might be mysterious, that did not make it paranormal or unexplainable. Radford further noted the importance of the double-checking information, as the mystery surrounding of the Bermuda Triangle had been created by people who had neglected to do so. Explanation attempts. Persons accepting the Bermuda Triangle as a real phenomenon have offered a number of explanatory approaches. Paranormal explanation. Triangle writers have used a number of supernatural concepts to explain the events. One explanation pins the blame of leftover technology from the mythical lost continent of Atlantis, sometimes connected to the Atlantis story, is the submerged rock formation known as the Bimini Road of the island of Bimini in the Bahamas, which is in the triangle by some definition. Followers of the purported physic Edgar Cayce take his prediction that evidence of Atlantis would be found in 1968 as referring to the discovery of the Bimini Road. Believers describe the formation as a road, wall, or the structure, but the Bimini Road is of natural origin. Other writers attribute the events to UFOs. Charles Berlitz, author of various books on anomalous phenomena, lists several theories attributing the losses in the triangle to anomalous or unexplained forces. Natural explanation. Compass variation. Compass problems are one of the cited phrases in many triangle incidents. While some have theorized that Unusual local magnetic anomalies may exist in the area. Such anomalies have not been found. Compasses have a natural magnetic variation in relation to the magnetic poles, a fact which navigators have known for centuries. Magnetic north and the geography north are exactly the same only for a small number of places. For example, as a 2000 in the United States, only those places on a line running from Wisconsin to the Gulf of Mexico. Sorry, French. But the public may not be as informed and think there is something mysterious about about a compass changing across an area as large as the triangle which it naturally will. Gulf Stream. The Gulf Stream is a major surface current primarily driven by thermohaline circulation that originates in the Gulf of Mexico and then flows through the Straits of Florida into the North Atlantic. In sense, it is within an ocean, and like a river, it can and does carry floating objects in it has maximum surface velocity of about 2 minutes per second. 2 meter per second, 2 m slash s. 2 meter per second. A small plane making a water landing or a boat having engine trouble can be carried away from its reported position by the current. Human error. One of the most cited explanation in official inquiries as to the loss of any aircrafts or vessels in human errors. Human stubbornness may have caused a businessman Harvey Conveyor to lose his sailing yacht Trevanock as he sailed into the teeth of the storm south of the Florida on Jan 1, 1958. Violent weather. Hurricanes are powerful storms that formed in tropical water and have historical cost thousands of lives and caused billions of dollars in damage. The sinking of Francisco de Bobadilla Spanish fleet in 1502 was the first recorded instance of a destructive hurricane. These storms have in the past caused a number of incidents related to the triangle. A powerful downdraft of a cold air was suspected to be a cause in the sinking of the Pride of Baltimore on May 14, 1986. The crew of the sunken vessel noted the wind suddenly shifted and increased velocity from 32 km per hour to 97 to 144 km per hour. That is 60 to 90 miles per hour. A natural hurricane center satellite specialist James Lusigan stated during very unstable weather condition the downburst of cold air from aloft can hit the surface like a bomb, exploding outward like a giant squall line of wind and water. A similar event occurred to Concordia in 2010 off the coast of Brazil. Scientists are currently investigating whether hexagonal clouds may be the source of these up to 170 miles per hour, that is 270 km per hour air bombs. The methane hydrates can be a reason also. An explanation for some of the disappearance has focused on the presence of a large fields of methane hydrates, a form of natural gas on the continental shelves. Laboratory experiments carried out in Australia have proven that bubbles can indeed sink a scale model ship by decreasing the density of the water. Any breakage consequently rising to the surface would be rapidly dispersed by the Gulf Stream. It has been hypothesized that periodic methane eruption, sometimes called mud volcanoes, may produce regions of frothy water that are no longer capable of providing adequate buoyancy for ships. Buoyancy for ships. If this were the case, such an area forming around a ship could cause it to sink very rapidly and without warning. Publication by the United States USGS describes large stores of undersea hydrates worldwide, including the Blake Ridge area of the coast of the southern east United States. However, according to the USGS, no large release of gas hydrates are believed to have occurred in the Bermuda Triangle for the past 15,000 years. Notable incident. Ellen Austin. The Ellen Austin supposedly came across a derelict ship placed on a board. It a prize crew and attempted to sail in tandem with it to New York in 1881. According to the story, the derelict had disappeared. Others elaborating further that the derelict reappeared minus the prize crew and then disappeared again with a second prize crew on board. A check from a Lodge of London records proved that the existence of Meta, built in 1854, and that in 1880 Meta was renamed Ellen Austin. There are no causality listing for these vessels or any vessels at the time that could suggest a large number of missing men were placed on board and board a derelict that later disappeared. USS Cyclops. The incident resulting in the single largest loss of life in the history on the US Navy not related to the combat occurred when the Collier Cyclops carrying a full load of manganese ore and with one engine out of action went missing without a trace with a crew of 309 sometimes after March 1918 after departing the island of Barbados. Although there is no strong evidence for single theory, many independent theory exists, some blaming Storm, some cabasing, and some suggesting that wartime enemy activity was to blame for the loss. In addition, two of Cyclops' sister ships, Proteus and Nereus, were subsequently lost in the North Atlantic during World War II. Both ships were transporting heavy loads of metallic ore, similar to that which was loaded on Cyclops during her fatal voyages. In all three cases, structural failure due to overloading with a much denser cargo than design is considered the most likely cause of sinking. Carol, daring. A five-masted schooner, but in 1919, Carol A. Daring was found hard aground and abandoned at Diamond Shoals near Cape Hatteras, North Carolina on January 31, 1921. Rumors and more at this time indicated Deering was a victim of piracy, possibly connected with the illegal rum running trade during Prohibition and possibly involving another ship, Hewitt, which disappeared at roughly the same time. Just hours later, an unknown steamer sailed when near the lightship along the track of the Daring and ignored all signals from the lightship. It is also speculated that Hewitt may have been a mystery ship and possibly involved in a dredging cruise experience. Flight 19 was a training flight of TGM Avengers torpedo bombers that disappeared on December 5, 1945 while over the Atlantic. The squadron flight plan was scheduled to take them due east from Fort Lauderdale for 141 miles, that is 227 kilometers, north for 73 miles, that is 117 kilometers, and then back over a final 140 mile, that is 230 kilometer, leg to complete the exercise. Complete the exercise. The flight never returned to base. The disappearance was attributed by Navy's investigator to navigational error, leading to the aircraft running out of fuel. One of the search and rescue aircraft deployed to look for them. A BBM Mariner with a 13-man crew also disappeared. A tanker off the coast of Florida reported seeing an explosion and observing a widespread oil slick when fruitlessly searching for survivors. The weather was becoming stormy by the end of the incident. According to contemporaneous sources, the Mariner had a history of the explanation due to a vapor leaks when heavily loaded with fuel, as it might have been for a potential long search and rescue operation. Star Tiger and Star Ariel. GAHNP Star Tiger disappeared on January 30, 1948 on a flight from the Azores to Bermuda. GIHGRE Star Ariel disappeared on January 17, 1949 on a flight from Bermuda to Kingston, Jamaica. Both were Avro 4 passengers aircraft operated by British South American Airways. Both planes were operating at the very limits of their range, and the slightest error or fault in the equipment could keep them from reaching the small island. Douglas DC-3. On December 20, 1949, a Douglas DC-3 aircraft number NC16002 disappeared while on a flight from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Miami. No traces of the aircraft or the 32 people on board was ever found. A Civil Aeronautics Board investigation found there was insufficient information available on which to determine probably cause of disappearance. Connemara 4. A pleasure yacht was found adrift in the Atlantic south of the Bermuda on September 26, 1955. It is usually started in the story as Bertlitz and Winner that the crew vanished while the yacht survived behind at the sea during 3 hurricane. The 1955 Atlantic hurricane season saw Hurricane Lone passing nearby between 14 and 18 September, with the Bermuda being affected by winds of the almost gale force. In his second book on the Bermuda Triangle, Weiner quoted from a letter he had received from Mr. J.E. Challoner or Barbados. On the morning of, he wrote in his book, on the morning of September 22, Panorama 4 was lying to a heavy morning in the open roadstead of Careless Bay. Because of the approaching hurricane, the owner strengthened the mooring ropes and put out 2 additional anchors. There was a little else he could do, as the exposed mooring was the only available anchor in Careless Bay. The sea in the wake of Hurricane Janet are awe-inspiring and dangerous. The owner of Connemara Ford observed that she had disappeared. An investigation revealed that she had dragged her moorings and gone to sea. KG-135 Strato tankers. On August 28, 1963, a pair of U.S. Air Force KG-135 Strato tanker aircraft collided and crashed into the Atlantic 300 miles west of Bermuda. Some writers say that while the two craft did collide, there were 2 distinct crash sites separated by over 160 miles, that is 260 kilometers of water. However, Larry research showed that the unclassified version of the Air Force investigation report revealed that the debris field defining the second crash site was examined by a search and rescue ship and found to be a mass of seaweed and driftwood tangled in a old buoy. Thanks for watching this video, friends. And the little question I am going to ask you is, if you are in this situation, if you get a chance to go to a Bermuda Triangle and investigate to this, what will be your response? You can comment it, friends. Thanks for watching this video, friends.